to do a little video on the kayak. I know it's a little dark in here, but unfortunately, burnt those guys out. That's summer heat and Reading, and leaving your lights on all day. It literally exploded out the bottom. Anyway, past that. So this is my kayak setup. I'm going to just start up here and talk about, well, first of all, it's a perception. Pescador 12.0 just means it's 12 feet long. So that's nothing special about that. Oh, and in California, you have to register these as boats because I put the motor on it. I thought, no, it's electric. They say they don't really care. It's a motor's a motor, and so I have a giant Tupperware boat, which is dumb as hell because I did this to both of my kayaks. This is my girlfriend's kayak. As you can see, I got hats hanging from it, but we've got trolling motor mounts on both kayaks. So I have two boats that I have to register every year, which is ridiculous. But anyway, we'll get to just some of the basic mods. This is the Humminbird fish finder. It's pretty decent for the price. Matter of fact, it helps catch a lot of fish. So I know I got mixed reviews from what I saw, but really it was pretty good. That's just on a simulator mode. I don't actually have it on that mode at all. I just go with the sonar. I don't really like to see what's on the bottom. I would rather see the fish, and I can't read this real well. So maybe if I investigated that or YouTube that a bit, it would be quite a bit of help. But anyway, these wires go down into the hull of the boat. And I'm hoping there's enough light to see, and not really super well. Here's where I keep my registration for my kayak. Idiots. Anyway, I've got that's actually a battery box, and I can pull it out. Let's pull it out. So I got that little Velcro on there. But I built this. It's just a dry box with a Duracell in it. And I just ran two bolts. As you can kind of see, these are just bolts, nuts and bolts. And one has a little red dot at the top, which you can hardly see here. There it is. And the other one has a little black dot on it. That way I know which is positive and negative, but it keeps my battery dry. With this gnarly Velcro, this has like, I believe it's 30 pounds. So this doesn't weigh 30 pounds, and unless I'm doing some really interesting stuff on the kayak, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that flying out. So it just kind of resides in here. And then I did do a little notch right here for the wires, which I then melted with essentially a hot nail ran out of a soldering iron, so I just slid a nail in the end of the soldering iron, got this real warm, because you don't want it to split. So I'm just going to slide that guy on there. Also for the transducer, this is super freaking cool. It's just a magnet inside. There's another magnet, which is right here. And that's, what is that called? It's really hard to see it. Let's just take it off. If you guys want a really good transducer mount, that's the guy right there. I don't know if it'll show up real well, but it says fishfindermounts.com. And I'm going to put that back here. Slap this guy back on. It'll find itself, I'm sure. Yes, it definitely did. And it just sits there. And so it's real easy. I can take it on and off. I think the mount, I'll be honest, it wasn't super cheap. I think it was like 90 bucks or something. But I didn't drill into my kayak. I didn't do any janky stuff where I just stuck the transducer to the bottom with some epoxy and called it good. A lot of guys are doing that. Apparently it's working for some of them and not working for others. And it doesn't give you accurate water temperature readings, so that's not great. This one, however, definitely does. And if I run it into the rocks, it just pops off. And it's very sturdy. I don't know what they made this plastic out of, but more than once I've come in a little hot, smashed it against the rocks. Really doesn't feel like it's been damaged at all, which is nice. But I smashed it against the rocks, had it pop off. Really thankful it was on a magnet and not drilled in to my kayak. Otherwise, you put a split in the bottom of your boat, you're no longer going to be boating around. And these, this kayak didn't come with the Scotty mount, but it came with a spot for one. So I just mounted that right there, super easy, reach my hand through under here, bam, ready to roll. It's pretty damn sturdy, and it's nice because I can sling, the rod out the side of the kayak. Now also, I got my little GoPro mount for all the live action, and that's been pretty, I don't know, the view isn't super great, so I'll probably upgrade that, but it is handy in here because you can see your fishing rod come out and, see what you're catching. This guy, this actual mount, that I believe was an Amazon buy, because I couldn't find a kayak mount, and that was one of those things where I see people, again, they'll go out to their wood shop or whatever, and they'll make a little something to slap on the back here, and that I didn't want to really do that. I mean, it's got a spot for a rudder and everything, so I mean that'd be great, but again, I don't want a bunch of things, cables running and all that kind of stuff for turning and all that stuff. I didn't want a permanent setup. As far as like, hey, this thing, my motor lives on this boat. I didn't want to do that. So anyway, let's see what else did I want to tell you guys about real quick. Let's go to the actual. Oh, real quick. If people ask how strong this is, plenty strong. You can't really tell, but right here. Well, you kind of can see it in the camera. Right here, it's elevated, and that's for to tap in for a few more rod holders or whatever you want. So it's very thick here. So I had no trouble with that. I might put like wood backing on it underneath. That way, it's make a larger area for it pulling and pushing or whatever. It's whatever if I'm in first or forward or reverse. I just use a little Duracell. This guy is pretty awesome. I can go, realistically, probably, 4 hours trolling on like, this thing I believe is a 5-speed Minn Kota, could be wrong, might be 4, but essentially what would be medium speed. I can do that for about 4 hours. I've never run the battery dry, ever. We've gone out, for long periods of time, and I think you'll get bored of sitting in your kayak for, needing to stand up and all that kind of stuff before you're going to wear that out. However, I do have a second one that I can carry with me. I also put my, my gear and stuff in here, like whatever it is. Most of the time, I'll have a backpack with me, like a small pouch of some kind, and it'll just live, in this area so I can access it. So that's pretty easy. Also, these. This mount, and I see if I can, it's actually from Brocraft, like literally BRO, craft, Brocraft. So there's nothing more romantic than that. It came with the mounts, but I believe I had to buy the cannonball or whatever they call this, cannon style rod holders separately, but it came with the actual sliding mounts for them, so that was pretty cool. Sorry, we're all sick in my house, so I might be hacking a little bit. We're going to stay here on this spot for a second. So as you can see, the trolling motor mounts no problem to this guy, and it's very strong. I highly doubt I'm ever going to break that off, but again, I'll probably put the little wood backing on the bottom. When I put this on here, and this is before I did the outrigger, but when I put this on here, I was really unstable. I felt like I was going to flip this thing super fast. And not only that, when I went to turn, it would strafe. Now, literally, it wouldn't spin my kayak, it would just slide it sideways. And I'm not the only one who had that problem. So, in fact, I put this in here so I can show you guys what it is. This is called bullnose rudder. And I got a spare one, that's for the other kayak. But this changed the whole thing. I went from sliding sideways, literally couldn't turn, and the first time I launched this thing, I didn't even have my paddle with me, and I ended up just sliding around the lake. So it was a pain in the ass to get back. Anyway, with this on the front, which is this guy right here. I know the lighting sucks, I'm sorry about that. But that guy made everything work. I thought, forever, how am I going to do this? I'm going to put a rudder on the back of my kayak, and that'd be awesome, and all these things. But again, I didn't want a permanent setup, so I put that on it. and it has worked great. I mean, it turns on a dime. Unless if I'm dragging somebody on the side, sometimes we'll do kayak side-by-side trolling, which is pretty rad, and this motor does more than enough for that. And then I just got the cage. That way I didn't rack my little, rudder. As you can see, that's a rip. Don't put your finger in there. Alright, so I think that covers pretty much all of that. And the wires, I just ran it just kind of under here. I had a breaker on it, but with the summer heat and running on high, I smoked the breaker, so don't use a 30 amp breaker. I know this thing draws 30 amps, so I didn't do the math great. I should have done more like, I don't know, double that, just in case it got hot. With this guy here, again, I used Scotty mounts. I did put wood backing on this here. That way it reinforced the side, because again, that spot is really thick because of the rod holder spot. And this spot, I mean, it's definitely not thin, but I didn't feel like it was strong enough. So I tapped that guy in there, and I put some sealant around it. And these are just Scotty rod holders with PVC in it. This was kind of a pain in the ass in general, because you have to figure out how to make everything at the right height. And even though these have teeth, they're large teeth. And getting the things to line up, you even go one tooth off, and I don't even think you can see them right here, but if you even get one tooth off, it changes the angle significantly, like too much to, basically those are useless. You got to mount it exactly how you want it. With this, oh, by the way, these are, another thing that, I keep harping on here is that I didn't want anything permanent. This could easily be, you pop the pins, now you've got another rod holder, or you have, a GoPro mount, or maybe you want nothing on it at all, or maybe you want your anchor leash to go from here to here and on back or whatever. So it's literally, you can do anything you want with it. And then what's cool about this guy, and I don't remember the name of this guy, Creek Cooler. This thing is like a miniature kayak for your beer. It is amazing. Whoever designed this was like, they were on it. And not only that, it does track straight. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a line here. So this whole thing will track straight. You can pull it behind a boat. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. But what's really cool about it is that these, when I pop these, now I have two rod holders hooked to an ice chest. So me and, say my buddy James or whoever I'm with, we'll each grab a side, walk down to the water. We got our lunch in there. We got, whatever you want. We don't do a lot of drinking at the lake because we don't like getting DUIs. So anyway, we'll have our, Pepsi or Monsters or whatever lunch in there. Holds your worms and all that kind of stuff. Not your tapeworms, but, fish and worms. And it has a little bit of water in it because I tried to spray it off real fast and some got in. I did spray it without the lid on, so it's like no derf. That's why it went in. But anyway, it's really roomy. Holds like, I think it's like 36 cans, or we'll say 30 because I know it holds at least 30. I know that from experience. But anyway, it holds a lot, and it's very, it's a really strong ice chest. I mean, this thing is tough. You could throw it out of the back of your truck, and that thing is going to survive. And it's just got a rubber gasket around it to keep the water up. And it naturally likes to live, sit in the water down. So I mean, you can rock it from side to side. It's not going to capsize. It's not going to reverse turtle on you. So it's just a really great design. And when I saw that, I was searching for an outrigger for days, and everybody's like, use a buoy and use this and use that, and I thought it just looked really cheeseball, so I didn't want to do it. So what I ended up doing was finding this little gem here online, and it wasn't cheap. I think it was like 150 bucks, but it solved two problems. I have my ice chest. I can throw my fish in there. I don't know if I would, just because I don't want to stink it up, but you can throw your food in there. You can throw fish in there, whatever it is, and it also helped the whole thing with the trolling motor and the kayak not being stable. That little bit of weight, I don't know how much the thing weighs, maybe 6-7 pounds. I mean, the trolling motor doesn't weigh anything, but when you put it out, when you kick it out so far off to one side, now you're going to be leaning your body to this side, and if you slip up even for a second, you're going to flip your kayak. And I had an incident at the lake. My buddy still laughs at me about it because I had 2 boats go by, and the waves went over the front of my kayak. They were going so fast, 2 speedboats. It's Memorial Day, everybody's having a good time. I don't blame them for it. But anyway, the water went over my kayak, filled up my kayak, and I damn near flipped it. And that was on my first day with that. And I was slaying fish. I think I caught like 7 or 8 bass in like, I don't know, 40 minutes trolling little Rapala crawdad. And so I was having a blast, and then that happened, of course. But anyway, it was too sketchy. So I needed this guy. And so, long story short here, this actually just a long ass story. This solved the problem completely. So if you're worried you're going to flip your kayak, go invest. I think, what is it, probably $200. I'd say it's probably $200, and that will make it to where you couldn't flip this kayak if you had to. Your ass will fall out all day long before this thing flips. This is just too much weight. It just holds, and first of all, it'll hold, I think, 60 pounds, I think is what it was rated for. It'll float with 60 pounds in it. And it by itself probably weighs, I don't know, 8 or 9 pounds. And for something that weighs 8 or 9 pounds, out this far, in order to flip this kayak, you're gonna need a lot of weight, at least to flip it to that side, and you're never gonna flip it to this side. So if you throw, I don't know, say 6 pack of whatever, some sandwiches, some bait, maybe some sunscreen or whatever. Say you throw 10 pounds on this thing. Now you got 20 pounds, and again, it floats nice and level with this. It's perfect. It floats so well. It looks so natural in the water. It's awesome. But if you have stuff in it, you're still never going to flip the kayak to the side. It's just not going to happen. And people ask me, hey, is it pretty strong? I'm like, these things, I mean, this is very strong. I had access under here to reach these guys, and then somehow I got my fat ass arm through here and reached the backside of this guy. So it is, it's got lock washers and all that on it, so it's really, the structural integrity is fantastic on it. This, here, they sell bolts with a little, it's almost like, it's not really a self-tapper, but I kind of want to compare it to that. It's a bolt with a rubber sleeve on it, and you just pre-drill it to the size they state on the back, and when you push it in and you screw it in, it works like a wall anchor and it expands inside. And so there are no bolts on the backside of this. And I mean, this thing is not going anywhere. So he's got these big rubber washers, and they sell those on Amazon too, and they're pretty tough. I'll admit, I didn't think they were going to work out. It was actually just kind of an experiment. I'm bummed that I don't have one sitting around, but if you just Google kayak bolts or kayak fasteners or something to that effect, they should pop right up and you'll recognize them. It looks like a bolt with just a big rubber sleeve on the outside, and they're very strong. On the bright side, if for some reason these don't work out here, I am not afraid to drill a hole right inside and then put large washers and nuts. So either way, this thing will be super strong. And you're not going to break these because the piece of PVC is probably, it goes from about here to about here, and the main stress point is right here, so you're probably not going to break that either. Again, I've taken this out numerous times and have never stressed these things out. Not this one is actually, I've never had a problem with this one, but sometimes this will back out of its sleeve just a hair, just enough to where I'll notice it, but it's never popped out on me. And that thing just, I mean, it takes all kinds of abuse. I weigh like 230, then you start adding all the gear and all this stuff, and then all the stuff in there, and again, it's not, you're not gonna want to sit on it, or whatever, but there's really no stress that you're going to put on it that's going to break these parts. I mean, worst case scenario, you put 40 pounds this way or 40 pounds this way, and these things are not going to break under 40 pounds. I mean, you're going to catch fish on these things under 40 pounds, so they're not going to break. And let's see, I never do YouTube videos, so I'm just trying to, I don't know how they do it. Those are all cans, Go Green, I recycle. And I think that's about it. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you guys. And oh, by the way, the trolling motor, I should have said this. I shortened this. So, and it was very easy. You just, right here, you take there's screws under here, here and here, and I think there's one, yeah, there is one under here. And you pull this up and the wires travel down. And I just cut the shaft on it. So it's literally designed at the perfect height. So that when I turn, the trolling motor cage can go under my kayak. And I'm not actually hitting my kayak. And again, the rudder is not actually capable of hitting the side of the kayak either. So really, I put a lot of thought into it to make sure, you know, I didn't just drill a hole in my kayak for nothing or strap some goofy stuff to the kayak for nothing. Oh, and as far as paddling with this, all this stuff hooked up, the way I have it set, see if I can get a good view for you guys. There's plenty of room to swing your paddle between the motor and the stabilizer or outrigger or whatever you want to call it. So yes, I can paddle with this, no problem. Obviously the trolling motor will make you go a whole lot faster than paddling with this thing off the side. But yeah, so this is the kayak. Try and get a little better view for you guys. You know what? Let's go wild here. Let's use this fancy garage door. That's what she looks like. I think it's all the chicks. Thought I'd show it to you guys with everything unhooked from it. So very small. Well, I mean not small. It's a 12-foot kayak. Holds like almost 400 pounds. I mean it's definitely not a small kayak, but there's nothing hanging from it, which is awesome. I always leave the rod holder and stuff because you could always use the space. There's the ice chest unhooked, and it's hanging out over here. So again, you can bring it out to the lake, you know, whatever, throw it in the bed of your truck, or, you know, you and your kids, go have a picnic and do some fishing. Pretty cool little setup with that. Matter of fact, we should probably call Creek Cooler and tell them, hey, this is an awesome outrigger, and mount some rod holders on this thing, because it's pretty awesome. And then, real quick on a side note of all of this, unfortunately me and my girlfriend got hit in a boat at the dock, and it actually sank my boat. And we had to sue them, and we get chump change a month for our medical bills from it. I mean, we weren't severely injured, but we almost both died. It was I mean, even CHP showed up. They couldn't believe we were in the boat. It was crazy. So I ended up with these, but I was on a budget because the boat that I'd made the summer before, I only got to take that boat out 5 times before we got hit at the dock by a large ski boat. So anyway, I totaled out our boat, and I was on a budget, and so I wanted, you know, something where we could go out on the you know, on the water and have a good time, but they had sank our boat. So anyhow, this kayak I think was $699 when I bought it. I think it's like $600 now, and they're both the Pescadors. So and they're both really good angling kayaks. They're fantastic. I can stand up in mine with the outrigger. I don't typically do it just because it feels awkward to do. I mean, you can do it, but I usually sit in my kayak. Where was I going with any of that? Anyhow, so I was on a budget for all this stuff, and the kayak being like say $700, and then between the mounts and the creek cooler and the, you know, trolling motor and fish finder and all that stuff, this is about, I don't know, $1,500. So you can make a really awesome kayak for about for about $1,500. So, you know, $1,500 is, I mean, that's like probably entry level of like a Hobie or, you know, some kind of, you know, awesome angling kayak that doesn't have half the cool stuff on it. I mean, they're pretty awesome kayaks. You know, eventually I'll probably level up to one of those and get a motor forward and all that stuff, but I'm so pleased with these and how they do that I won't be doing that unless, you know, some idiot hits me in their boat again, or somehow I, you know, decide to sell this or whatever. I mean, I have another fishing boat, but I personally really love this because it's easy. My girlfriend doesn't like to help with the, she'll hold the boat at the dock, but that's about all the help I get with the boat. So these, it's like, hey sweetie, here's your kayak. And then I kind of give her a little shove. And she's in the lake. And then I got my own stuff and I'm in the lake, so it makes it very easy. So for $1,500 you can make a pretty awesome kayak. If you guys have any questions or you want to see it in the water, doing some fishing, and I can give you a basic tutorial on that, so if you choose to go this route, you can kind of know what to expect and what it'll do for you and things like that. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, leave it in comments below. I'd be happy to help you. And stay safe on the water. All right, have a good New Year.